Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hey guys. Hey guys, my name is Nina. This is my second YouTube video. So if you're coming back from the first one, hey. And if you're new here, hey. I'm sorry. I don't know how to start a proper YouTube intro. Today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of being a content creator. A lot of people, I think, are on this line where they're like, I think I want to make content. It seems like something that would be cool. I could maybe start my own business from it and I could be super creative. Maybe I don't like where my job is right now. But I don't know if I want to face all of the possible criticism of being a content creator. I don't know if I want to put myself out there. I want to use my voice, but I'm a little bit scared of judgment and seeing what the world of content creation is really like. Every person who makes content has a different experience. I happen to actually really like social media. I feel like I have a good, healthy relationship with it. I get hate comments, I get plenty of whatever, all that stuff, but I still have this overall positive feeling towards it. And as somebody who has that relationship and that experience with it, I think it's important to talk about both sides. If you guys are interested in one-on-one coaching, click the link in my description. It tells you everything you need to know. Let's get into it. The first pro of being a content creator, I think this probably applies to a lot of people, and especially people who are trying to master their craft, whatever it may be. I have become a better therapist, a better coach, and a better person at a rate that simply just would not have happened without my connection to the internet. When you are constantly connected to people from all over the world, of all different professions, all different backgrounds, cultures, languages, everything, you get exposed to so many different perspectives. The rate of growth that you experience as a person accelerates tremendously when you put yourself out there. If you were doing the same thing outside of the internet in real life, you would still grow, you would still learn, but you wouldn't have as many opportunities to do all of that. The internet gives you access to so many resources and so much information and so many different kinds of people. So when you have access to that, you're able to see things from completely different perspectives. You're able to get feedback from all different kinds of people. Whereas, for example, if I were just working as a therapist locally, I would get advice from my supervisor. I would get advice from my coworkers and, whoever else I was working with, maybe friends. But outside of that, those are kind of my main people. I'm kind of limited to that circle, and I can't necessarily learn more than what they already know. Like, if my supervisor is here and I'm here, I could totally get to here, but I need to grow and go somewhere else in order to get here if I want to. And while that's totally possible to do in real life, the actual rate that it happens when you have access to the internet, to me, is like tremendously faster. I know this can be a little bit of a gray area, because if you have too much information coming in and you're not able to process it, then you might actually just stay exactly where you are. But I think for the most part, people who really put themselves out there, they get their ideas commented on. They get immediate feedback about it. They get variety in the types of feedback that they're getting. If you're a comedian, you get direct feedback about what people actually think is funny, the specifics. People will put in your comment section, ha ha ha, this part was so funny. And you're like, okay, that's working. I actually have like an audience to test this out on. Okay, they like that. Let me try more of that. And you can literally go make another video the next day and experiment more with that thing. Whereas if you were a comedian in real life, you might have to have a real show first in order to see that. You might have to have a real audience first in order to get that knowledge. The rate at which you can grow when you have that many connections of information, feedback, and different perspectives is probably one of my favorite things about creating content. Pro number 2, you get to connect with people that you might have never met, never knew existed otherwise. This is similar to the first one, but the first pro was focused more on developing your own skill set and growing as a person, whereas this one is focused more on actual relationships and community. As much as we all make jokes about the algorithms on social media, the reality is like it's gonna put people who are more similar to you or have more similar interests in your circle. They're literally gonna put them in your face. And when you're exposed to that, you might actually find people who are more similar to you than the people that are actually around you in real life. And maybe they're local, maybe they're from halfway across the world, but you have the ability to connect with them. And I think that's fucking awesome. I actually met my boyfriend through Instagram. He saw one of my reels on Instagram and he DM'd me and we talked. Next thing you knew, we were talking on the phone. Next thing you knew, I'm up till 4 a.m. talking to him on the phone. Next thing you know, he's in Austin. We go on a date and he never went back to New York after that. I couldn't even imagine a person like him existing, let alone being such a major part of my life. I've also met people who have been so influential in the way that I see the world and challenged my perspectives. People who have just like showed me a different way of life and made me consider like, oh, that wasn't even I don't even know anybody who thinks like that. And now I'm seeing this person talking about something and, you know, maybe I reach out to them, we connect, and now I have a person in my life who thinks in a way that I would love to be more like. And especially if you grew up in a place where, you know, like the people around you weren't the most inspiring, or maybe you felt like a misfit. Maybe you felt like you were not really fitting in where you are. And who knows, maybe you meet the love of your life. Maybe you end up moving to a different country. Maybe, like, who knows? But that's what I love about it. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Pro number 3, social media can give you the opportunity to create your dream job. I've always known that I wanted to be a therapist. It was something that like literally never changed. Like I had like a one-track mind. I was like therapist, 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 therapist. And anything else I even considered was like maybe for a week. And then I always went back to this thing. I knew it was what I wanted to do. But I always had such a passion and I always had this gravitational pull towards the arts. I was a dancer for 14 years. I was in a band and I loved singing. I spent a lot of time cooking and I wanted to have all of these things be a really big part of my life. I didn't want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none, but I also didn't want to let go of any of the things that I really, really loved to do. And I never thought about the idea that I could do psychology and something creative along with it. And so I tried to make therapy as creative as I could. But when I started creating content, I didn't follow anybody's rules. Like I wasn't like, oh, I have to make a video this way. I have to talk to the camera like this. I have to talk about these topics. I just started talking and eventually like myself came through and my content became its own thing. And without even doing it on purpose, my dream job became literally exactly what I'm doing. Not because that was my intention, but because there were no rules that said that it couldn't be that. And so who I am just literally like flourished. My passions had a wide open space where they could just like turn into whatever they wanted to turn into. And if you told kid version me that right now in my life I was creating content the way that I am, I literally would be like, whoa, you can do that? I thought that like I had to do a job that had a formal title that you would find in like a job application. I didn't know that I could do my own thing. So if you feel like you never knew what you wanted to do, or maybe you do know what you want to do, but it's not like that typical follow the leader, whatever, I think content can give you such a beautiful space to be able to not only create that, but a space to learn about what you want to do if you don't know the answer yet. All right, now for the cons. These are going to be a little shorter. Con number 1, adjusting to the content creator lifestyle requires a bit of a learning curve. It requires a lot of time on your phone. If you're doing it full time, you have to learn how to like create your own schedule and be a business owner, basically. You have to get used to putting yourself out there and putting yourself in a place where like anybody can say anything they want about you. And then all the technicalities of like filming stuff, editing. If you're not already familiar with that, there's a bit of a learning curve for figuring it out. For me, I absolutely despise editing. You start to figure out which parts are not fun for you, but just like any other job, there's always going to be those things. It also obviously requires that I spend way more time behind a camera, behind a laptop, behind my phone. And as somebody who was not somebody who spent a lot of time on my phone before this, it took a while for me to get used to it. And I actually got like a little depressed in the beginning because I hadn't learned how to like spend the time doing this and to feel like my life was still a real life. It felt like very artificial, very strange, and I didn't like that. But as time has gone on, I've learned how to like film outside so that I can enjoy nature while I'm doing it, have fun with it. I've learned how to like take my laptop outside and get sun when it's like a beautiful day, go to a coffee shop and do it there. I've learned how to kind of incorporate it into my real life instead of feeling like it's separating me from real life. And I think as long as you can be patient and know that it does take time to learn how to get adjusted, it actually becomes very worth it in the end. Con number 2, hate comments. To be honest, I actually don't consider this a con for me, but I feel like objectively it is a con, so that's why I'm factoring this one in. Being totally honest here, yes, there have been hate comments that have affected me. Yes, there have been hate comments that really ruffled my feathers. Is that how you say it? Yes, there have been times when I have wanted to just like turn off my phone and never go on my phone again because it was overwhelming and my fight or flight was just like, yeah! But to me, there seems to be an art of how to handle that stuff. And part of it is literally just not giving it attention. And not giving it attention is an actual skill and an art that takes time to figure out. But I think once you're able to do that, I'm not saying it's never going to affect you again. And I'm sure if I got like 1 million hate comments a day, it would be a different level. But hate comments have honestly taught me how to take criticism so much better in my real life. Con number 3, and the last one, and the realest one for me, is I miss real life interactions. Especially after everything with COVID happened, having an online business and an online platform is both a dream and really hard. I find myself craving like in-person things so much more now. I can't tell you how many times I wish that I could just like meet up with my clients in person. I wish that I could just talk to people in real life, have a podcast episode face to face with somebody instead of being on Zoom. All of my work is on a laptop, making the content, responding to the comments for the content, talking to people in my DMs, coaching, making my Anxiety Unplugged course, which is always being improved and changed. Like I said, there's a learning curve, so you learn to adapt. But regardless of how much you adapt, there's just simply certain things that you can never do in person. And maybe that's one that isn't too hard for other people. I know it's definitely been hard for me, especially as someone who loves nature and like loves that tangible, like physicalness of human beings. But those were all my pros and cons. I hope this was helpful for you if you're somebody who's making content or thinking about making content. Thank you guys for being here, and as always, don't miss out on yourself. I'll see you in the next video. Love you. Bye.